Good evening. This is Adam Markovics, Chair of the Village of Ossining Historic Preservation Commission. We're commencing our regularly scheduled meeting the month of November. It's November 2nd at 7:33 in the evening. We have two applications before us tonight, and I'd like to get to those. But before we do, let's do a roll call. So the commission members could state their name for the record.
Stephen Casey.
Dana White.
Catherine Wilson. Oh, sorry, Catherine Wilson.
A little bit.
And Phil Ferranda?
Yes, Phil Ferranda, present.
Okay. All right, so why don't we get started with whichever applicant is here?
All right. We have JB Hernandez.
Yes.
Hey, and you're here for 127 Main Street, correct?
Yes.
Okay, is there anybody else here with you? There's a number here, 914-320-7342.
I'm not sure if Melita was going to be, I got a text that she may not be able to participate, so.
All right, if you are 914-320-7342, are you here for the 127 Main Street application, or are you here for the 113 Main Street?
I'm here as a participant. I'm not an applicant.
Okay, thank you. All right, so are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Well, this application. Do you have the, Jaime, do you have the drawing for, not the drawing, the picture that we submitted? Photoshop with the owner?
Yeah, give me a second.
Yep. This is an awning. Melita's Furnishing has relocated to 127 Main. And we have a Photoshop that shows the before and after with the awning. It's in a 144-inch. It's a 144-inch awning that goes across. It's going to be a retractable awning. It is acrylic. And the idea is to, once it extended, it's 84 inches long. And the idea is to provide a little bit of protection with the display that she has on the window from the heat and the sun. So that's a simple, it's an acrylic awning. It comes, it's not made, it's not made in place. It's she bought it from a factory already. And it's coming in as one place, and the colors will be black with top stripe. So that's, as you see in the rendering, there's the before and after what we were proposing to do.
Now, I know there was some sort of issue with the fact that Melita couldn't get a swatch, right?
Right. She wasn't able to, this called Altex Beauty Mark. It's a retractable awning. It's heavy duty. It's water resistant. And it's, again, it's to provide protection from sun. And she tried to get a swatch from the manufacturer, but she couldn't.
But this is just going to be open during certain times of the day when the sun is shining in the, because there's chairs and a table shown underneath in the proposed, but it's not, it's really more to shade her store, right?
Yes, actually the tables were there. It might have been from, because they're doing work on Docas, the adjacent store, so that table must have been there. And okay. We didn't put the tables there as part of the proposal.
So some context here. The table. This is a recent picture. Those tables are up because the DOCA had used that space in front of that building for outdoor dining during COVID. So it's out there now. It's not related to her use. It's related to the adjacent store's use. Doka. So it is not for her to use it that way. It is. You're correct, Dana. It is for her to cover the kind of prevent the sunlight from coming in the window during
It
the
does
day.
get really bright and hot in there. I mean, does it really blast, and then it fades the goods, you know, that kind of sun. So, I mean, the lack of a swatch doesn't bother me. I don't know how to get around that, you know. I mean, it's a wind, it's mechanical, right? It's not a, you have to do it by hand.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's nice, kind of old fashioned. Because there are motorized ones, but this is not motorized, right?
No, it's not motorized. It's as you can see in the photo, there's it's a hand swivel that we will be using. And we already, I believe that Melita and Pedro already went to the Board of Trustees and they obtained the permission from them as well.
Right, yes, they did. I think it'll go nicely with the color scheme of the building, with the penny and ting awning. You know, I mean, with the Vaza awning, you know, it all goes nicely together.
I'll note now my first thought when I saw it is why doesn't it go across the entire storefront? And I looked at some historic photos of awnings. Not all would stretch across an entire storefront. So my initial concern about historic integrity was allayed by my review of the available historic photographs. JB, how is the awning going to be attached to the building?
It does come with its own fastening device, and they are kind of concealed under the awning, so it won't be visible from the exterior.
Is the mounting solely to the fascia board that
Yes.
is out?
Yes, and it comes with, you know, it's not a structural piece that we will have to, you know, mount. There will be, you know, code required to, you know, to withhold a, you know, 100-mile wind. It's a 35 mile an hour wind bracket that goes underneath, and it gets mounted onto the fascia board.
The stripes that are shown on the rendering, you have any idea of the approximate width of each stripe? Is that an accurate rendering?
There is a specification with a larger, larger picture that was submitted. I'm not sure if we have that as well in the file, Jaime. Whereas we took this from, it is about, I would say, 2 inches and 2 inches across the stripes.
Okay.
Well, I have, you know, I mean, I'm okay with it, and the Board of Trustees passed a resolution to okay it.
Does anyone have any other questions for the applicant? Okay. Well, I'm satisfied that the proposed awning is compatible with the existing structure, and I would make a motion to approve the application as is. I don't think there's any need for the applicant to provide a sample of the material. Based on the description, I'm satisfied personally that it would be compatible with the existing structure. So with that, I make a motion to approve the application as is.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Have a
Judy.
good evening.
You too.
Have a nice day. All right, we have Joyce Cole in the attendee list, so I'm going to promote her to panelist. Hi, Joyce.
Hi, sorry, I had a meeting and I got out a little early, so I rushed home.
Thanks for making the effort, Joyce. Nice to see you. Okay, we have another application on for this evening, right?
Yep. So this is the application for 113 Main Street. We have Paola from 113 Main Street here. We also have Rotis Printing. And there's two people there, so bring them both in. Okay. Hello?
Yes.
Rotis Printing, Paola, are you there?
Yes. Yes, we're here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening. This is Adam Markovics, Chair of the HPC. Would the applicant like to proceed in presenting the application before us tonight?
You would like me to present the sign that we are trying to do?
Yes, and there's a pretty significant echo. I'm not sure how to correct that.
Yep, we've lost them. Okay. I'm not sure either. All right. Maybe just, I guess, give it a second. Is Rotis Printing, are you here for this application as well?
While we're waiting, there was a point in time in the past when I just could not make these meetings at 7 p.m. because I was covering a court for what I do during the day, my day job. And I'd sometimes just be unable to be present at 7 p.m. So at some point in the past, I'd asked that the meetings be moved to 7:30. My whole schedule and sort of coverage for work has changed, and now it looks like I'd have no trouble making a 7 p.m. HPC meeting. How does everyone feel about switching the meeting time back to 7 p.m.?
That would be fine with me.
Fine with me.
Fine with me.
I'm good with it too.
All right, we have Rotis Printing here. They're unmuted. Are you able to speak on behalf of the application?
Yes, can you hear us now?
We can.
You can. You seem to have it open maybe in a couple places on your phone and on. So if you just go ahead and.
I think we're good now.
Okay, great, perfect.
All right, so pretty much we have 113 Main Street. All he wants to do, he just wants to have metal letters with Main Deli and Grocery on there, pretty much attached to the wall. And I think you guys, we have sent all the layouts and everything to Jamie.
Yeah, they're on the screen. Are you able to see? But these are what you sent us.
Mm-hmm. I can see you. I don't see anything else. Yeah.
You may have to move. Sharing the screen. Are you on a phone?
I mean,
Yeah.
nothing's being shared.
No, I'm on the
Nothing's being
iPad.
shared. Oh,
No, there's nothing shared.
that's why nobody can see what I can see. I apologize.
There we go.
There we
Yeah, so that's pretty much what the customer would like to have on his building. And we would like to know if that's something that we can get approved.
So this is not Main Street Deli up the street. Are there two Main Street Delis?
Yes.
There are two. Oh, so this is the one that used to be Ray's Deli.
Not,
Next to Manabita's?
Yes.
Okay.
This is not the applicant. This is the applicant. This is sign maker. So
Oh, okay.
Does anyone know if there's a sign there now? I mean, I've looked on Google Maps and I see a picture of a sign for, I think, what was the old deli.
Right.
There's certainly nothing, particularly respectful historically about the old sign.
all they have right now is he has vinyl letters on his, I don't know if you're able to see my device. Yeah, he has removed that, has left that piece of wood there, but put vinyl lettering on there, just on there. It's right on the screen of my phone. I don't know if you can see it. That's pretty much what he has.
Thank you.
That actually is showing pretty clearly. Thank you.
Would it be terrible if I said I prefer that to the other one? I'm sorry. I mean, the sign gives it some shape. Otherwise, it's just kind of, big. But
Yeah, all he has there is vinyl lettering. I mean, we'll be removing that board unless you want him to keep that board and put the letters in there, but the sign will be too small, I think.
It's hard it's hard to tell what the sign's going to look like. I'm speaking for myself and not for the other HPC members. With signs generally, I don't, I don't really stand in the way or, feel it appropriate to stand in the way because for the most part, signs are temporary. So really, I view the job of the HPC as making sure that whatever's put in place has some degree of respect for the building and what surrounds it. It's hard for me, at least, to tell what this particular sign is going to look like. Because we have, I don't know, it just looks like a font that would appear on a label or on a box or something. It's hard to tell what these letters are actually going to look like.
Well, there's one thing to think about. I think you have these letters here, but you mentioned that you're going to remove a piece of this away. Is there an intent to paint this, repaint it at least the same color?
Yes, he's repainting the wall the same color.
Which is yellow. Well, could the applicant say some more about what these letters are going to look like?
Let me see if I can, but pretty much I have, let me see if I can turn around. How do I turn around this camera? Let me see if I can. Can you see my screen?
You can. Yeah.
So pretty much that's what we have on the graphic design. You needed to see more like a live view of how they'll look like in terms of thickness or sidewise from the side, how it will look like.
Exactly. I for one can't tell what the final lettering is going to look like based on that flat rendering.
Okay, he's just working on that pretty quick. He'll get you that in just a minute.
right, normally we would see a sample of the letter, but we can't feel it or, hold it right now, obviously.
Do we have
Will the letters be coming off sort of have depth to them off the surface?
I could probably get you a sample of the letter. I may have it here, so you can kind of have an idea how it looks like.
Okay.
All right, give me 1 sec. So I don't know if you can see me. This is pretty much how the letters would look
You can
like.
hold on real quick. So everybody, if you're in gallery view, if you right click the person, you can say spotlight video, and that will allow the video to pop up and be the main thing on your screen. which allows you to get a better sense of what she's showing you right now. Go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. So pretty much this is how the letter will look like. This is the letter per se, and this is how thick it will look. Of course, it doesn't have the lightning because I have the lightning attached to the back of this, but this is how the lettering would look like. This is how thick it'll be. And then it will be attached to the wall.
How tall is that particular letter that you're holding?
This one that I'm holding, I'll tell you right now.
Is that the size of the letters you're proposing?
This is 10. The one that we're proposing, I believe, is 12. I'll get you that size.
Even bigger.
There are two different sizes. So it's 12 for the main deli and grocery is 8 inches.
Yeah, so it's just a slightly bigger for main deli and grocery, and the ones in grocery will be about this size because this is 10.
No, it's less.
No, that one's 9. This is 10.
No.
Any idea what the dimensions are of the existing letters?
No.
Much smaller, I think.
Yeah, I think that they are.
Because they fit on that board.
Also made 6 inches.
I think they're 5 or 6 inches of what he currently has there for each letter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm concerned that the 12-inch letters are gonna, and they seem rather thick too, are gonna read as jumbo size and not really blend in with the facade of the building and the other storefronts.
They're much larger, I think. I think they're, I mean, I think obviously he wants them to be big so they'd be easy to read, right? It'd be easy to see the sign, right? You can't miss it.
Do you think the Main Street name should be a little smaller than what's being proposed?
Well, my concern is that if you look at the M, for example, of the Main Street, I can't quickly call it up. It just looks pretty gigantic, both in terms of the height and the width of the lettering.
Which one's the one?
It's a little too large and out of scale, maybe, you know, like with the other signs and.
Is that not, though, an aesthetic?
Yeah.
Are we making an aesthetic judgment here?
Well, in the context of what's there.
Well, what's there isn't necessarily historical, though. It's just historical if you look back 5 years.
Well,
But
no,
like,
but I'm talking about size, the size of the letters. I mean, is that an aesthetic thing? I mean, I guess, yeah.
yeah, it's the size of the letters. I mean,
Okay, so
I'm not sure that we.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure if you were able to go into Google Maps, and we're there now. Pretty much the lettering will be similar to the restaurant that shows on the picture. It's called, what is it? El Manavita. It's, if you move forward, yep, a little more, like right there. The sports restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the lettering, it will be around that same size. I mean, it might look a little bigger on there because there are less letters than it is on there, on that particular sign. But the letters will be big like that.
I mean, would it be possible to share the rendering again?
The rendering of what we proposed?
Yeah, that's it. Okay. So, taking the letter M, in Maine, how thick is, let's say, each leg of the letter M? How
Oh.
wide?
I'll tell you right now. Okay, give me just a minute. I'll get you that info.
¿Cuánto es 10? ¿O 2?
2.
Okay, so
The size of the leg, just the size of the leg of the M. So pretty much. This is about, I would say the width of the leg would be about 3 inches.
So I have a question. Is this in the rendering? This is the exact font of the letters for the sign?
Yes.
Okay.
But if there is any suggestions that you think we can change, I'm sure we can certainly do that.
Do you have a sample of any letter from alphabet in that font? Like a
In this particular font. Let me check. Okay.
ya se puso un pequeño.
Maybe something like this.
Este también es igual. Este también es igual.
Same thing, right? This one's just slightly bigger.
Okay, so that font that you're holding is different from what's in the rendering. So I like what you're holding, but it would be helpful to see a more accurate rendering, I think, with some depth.
The same
That'd be
font. Yes. No. ¿Pero podemos cambiar este font?
Podemos cambiar eso.
Do you know which font this is?
Sí.
All right, we can change the graphic to this font so you guys can see it.
I think that would help.
It'd also be useful to know what the finish is going to look like.
He wanted to do black letters.
Are they matte? Are they shiny? Are they?
That's
are
what I
they
mean.
the same?
Shiny.
Yes, the letter you held up doesn't match this font. I like the letter you held up.
Yeah, I'm actually looking for this particular font to change the drawing for you.
This application was submitted past the appointed deadline for tonight's meeting, right?
Correct.
Okay. And I want to try to be accommodating. We don't want to hold up a business, but by the same token, I think maybe a little bit more time with this application would be useful.
It would have, if they had filed early, you would have had raised the same questions. I felt it was important to try to get this before the board. It's essentially a sign permit. And I thought it would, at least if we could get it before the board, it would be helpful so that they would not have to wait into the holiday season.
I'm inclined to ask my colleagues on the board what, if anything, anybody objects to. And if no one has a significant objection about the historical ramifications of this, that we just talk about approving it.
Well, I don't think it's, I think it, it'd be good to see the sign in the font that they're going to use. I mean, is that something we would have to, that can't happen right this sec, right?
The picture we're looking at right now is not the font that they're going to use?
No, but I think that the applicant here is saying that they can pull it up right now. They can just adjust the font on the fly and show it.
Okay.
Do you have a sense of how long it's going to take you?
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
So pretty much the font that you have on the layout, it's what was approved by the customer. That's what he wanted to use. Okay. But I thought that I thought you meant that this was a little too big or it was too plain. But this is particularly the font that he would like to use. This is the layout that he wanted to go for his sign.
What we're looking at.
Yeah, I just don't have a letter just with that font here to show it to you. I will just have it once the sign is made.
But you had shown us the depth of something. You showed us the depth of what a letter would have.
The depth, pretty much the depth would be this, what I have showed you prior to. And the depth of this is 1 inch.
Okay. So let's just make sure we've got everything right. It's going to be a glossy finish, correct?
Correct.
And the depth of each letter will be no more than 1 inch?
Correct.
The font that's in the rendering is the font that the applicant wishes to use, correct?
Correct.
But you don't have a sample letter in that font, is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, if you would like me to, if it will make a little bit of a difference in terms of, I was able to find a font similar to this just for the layout itself. If you think that what we have, it looks a little too big or looks off, I would say, and I can show it to you on our screen. Or if you think that what we have, it's good enough.
If you can do it, I would say if you can do it and it's pretty easy, let's see the other font.
Can you?
That's the one that they looking at to the.
That's one of the ones that you're looking at in terms of what I was showing you on the letter right here that we have. It's just.
Oh.
I just don't know how to turn this camera around.
Oh, here.
It's
pretty clear the way you've done it.
Oh, yeah. Is that a different font than the other one?
It's a different font.
But this is the one he wants right here.
This is a serif font. The other one was a sans serif font. So.
Okay.
So this is what would be. This is what's being proposed. That's what would be what the public sees.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The dimensions are the same, right? 12 inches for the top line, 8 inches for the bottom line?
Yes, that one changed.
Okay.
I like
It's funny when you take away like the measurements and the explanations and the lines and the inch marks, it seems pretty clean to me.
Yeah, I agree. This rendering, for whatever reason, seems really unobjectionable to me.
But this is the other font, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Is this the font then? Because there's two, we're seeing two. So which one is it? Is this one?
This is the one that we can go for, yeah.
Yeah, I like this one.
I do too.
Can I make a motion to approve this? Is it too early?
Is
I mean,
the applicant,
This is
is the
about as
applicant,
straightforward as it gets.
is the applicant willing to use this font?
Yeah, he's fine with that.
And what's the name of the font?
The name of the
The
font,
It's a GT
G-
Gemco.
GT Gemco.
Okay, with the amendment that the font used be, if I get this right, GT Temco?
No, GT dash GEMCO, Gemco?
Gemco.
Phil is familiar with the Gemco font. Okay,
I'm not, but I did study English.
okay. All right, well, with that amendment, Phil has made a motion to approve the application. Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope that wasn't too painful. We thank you for your patience.
Not at all. Thank you very much for working with us, and we'll make sure we get that out there. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Gemco, forth and prosper.
All right. It's 8:09. I don't know if there's anything else on the agenda. I wanted to bring up one or two things briefly. All right, I'll say I don't believe the village has gotten any submissions for the high school essay video contest, or at least I haven't heard about it. I will follow maybe after the election day tomorrow. I will follow with my contact at the high school to see if there's been any response to the contest, and maybe gently reminding my contact that there's a deadline at the end of November. That's all I've got to say about the essay video contest for now. I'll note that with respect to the First Baptist Church, I made a call to the New York State Preservation League for some advice and guidance about how to proceed. The New York State Preservation League has a grant program, a technical assistance grant program, for relatively small grants to help historic building owners commission engineering studies, preservation studies. The only problem with their grant program is they do not make grant monies available to religious institutions. But in talking it through with the New York State Preservation League, it occurs to me that it actually may be worth speaking to my contact at the First Baptist Church about applying for a similar grant program through, I believe it's the New York Landmarks Conservancy. Makes available similar grant monies to religious institutions. Because it's not entirely clear to me that the scope of the work and the cost of the work is known to the First Baptist Church. I'm trying to obtain the materials that Joanne Tall had prepared with the church. I'm not sure how far they've gotten. So in my next call to my contact at the First Baptist Church, I'm going to repeat my request to have a look at those documents that were previously prepared with Joanne Tall's assistance, and broach the idea of pursuing a technical assistance grant with the New York Landmarks Conservancy. That's all I can come up with for the First Baptist Church. And other than that, I did not have anything else I wish to bring up with the group tonight. Did anyone else have anything they wish to address? Oh, before I turn it over to everyone else, the changing the meetings from 7:30 to 7 p.m. Is that okay with everyone? Does anyone have strong feelings either way?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, once again, I'm fine with it too.
Okay. So Stuart, I mean, is there any reason we can't start this new start time effective the next meeting?
December 7th. Happy to.
Okay. All right.
Adam, if I may, before you
please.
close the meeting, sorry. So pretty much, I just want to kind of, well, I'm going to ask Adam probably on Wednesday to probably come to our meeting. Do we have legislative session? Yes. So maybe if you could come to our meeting and actually talk about the essay format on the part of the public announcements that we have in there, I think it would be helpful. So people actually get a little bit more about the background on that one. So if you could, if you cannot, then that's fine. Then I can just talk about it. But I think it would be nice from the chairman of the Historic Preservation to come into our, to our meeting and kind of make that a public announcement, and it'd be kind of interesting. But it's up to you. You let me know. Whatever works, or one of the members in here, maybe Joyce could do it. Could be part of that, or Dana, or anyone actually. It doesn't matter. But I think it would be nice that if one of the members could be part of that. The other one that I wanted to talk to you guys about is besides Dana and besides the staff, obviously, who else has been kind of following a little bit or reading about any of the material from the comprehensive plan, and what is that? Did you guys watch our meetings before? I think like 2 weeks ago, or even like a work session from last week. I'm not sure if you guys were able to watch any of that stuff or follow any of that stuff that is going on right now. That we know, yes, maybe.
Yeah,
No.
it's a no for me. I've been it's been an incredibly busy time for me, but Manuel, if you could provide us with an update, that
yeah, no, definitely. So a couple of the things obviously that has been happening, and they did a presentation last week, and I'm just going to give you a brief one on that one because we are still going to be working on this, and I want to kind of engage the HBC a little bit more on this one, especially for the downtown, obviously. So there's a couple of different proposals, and Jaime, help me out if I forget something in here. So there's obviously there's some proposals to change some parts of the T zone. There's a proposal to add an MF3 zone, and Jaime can go into a little bit more details if you guys want to learn more of that MF3. But there's also something that we have talked about in the past is doing so right now, and I'm not going to explain because I still don't fully understand what form-based code is and what that looks like. I get it, I read it, and it still makes some of the stuff make sense and some of those stuff doesn't make sense. But what we're looking for is pretty much putting an overlay as a form-based code throughout the whole downtown, going all the way up Cronin Avenue, pretty much just a part of the center business portion of our village. So what that means is part of that form-based code is going to be across the street from the historic section of our village, of our downtown. So one of the things that I mentioned last week was that we should be working with the HBC, because whatever happens in there, and I don't know if it's going to happen in 5 years or 10 years from now or 20 years from now, I think it's important for us to have, or the HBC to have, a saying in what happens across from the historic district. And like I had mentioned before, I think it's important for us to have some sort of overlay zone or some sort of language in our code where it actually complements the historic fabric of what we have in our downtown. So I don't know if we can, that is public information. Do we have can you share, Jaime, can you share that info, the presentation that was done from BFJ to the HPC? No, you can just send them an email. You can just send them an email and you guys can read it, kind of see what that looks like. But there's more public engagement that's going to happen. We actually, you know, we had an internal call today, and I think we need a little more time and some public engagement and what does that look like. So we're going to be doing a lot more than that. So what I'm asking from the HPC board is to please take a look at this, see what that means, and if you guys feel that is appropriate to have some language on this form-based code portion or just add it to our current code, I think will be helpful. At least that's how I felt when I was in HPC when we talked about this. And you know, again, I'll leave that up to you guys if that's the what you guys would like to do on this.
Yeah, you know, I would add just a quick note. So the way that a form-based code is made to work is sort of gives priority to how it feels. Form-based code primarily goes in walkable areas. So they're you know, it looks at new development coming in to basically be walkable, you know, considers the pedestrian experience, you know, before anything else. And so form-based code, for the most part, deals with new developments, doesn't so much deal with existing developments. Existing buildings would kind of be built into it. So for the downtown, a lot of that is, you know, the stuff that hasn't been built up or maybe is sort of a small scale that might get torn down to be replaced. So the form-based code, I think in this instance, was some effort was taken to make it consistent with the historic downtown so that it didn't have too much of an impact, but of course the devil is in the details. So just to piggyback off of what Trustee Quesada said, it's important that you do take a look at that code as written to make sure that it is consistent, that you do feel that kind of a code would be harmonious with the historic district in downtown, and just make sure that it's something that you think does make sense. Because of course, at this time, it's still just a proposal being discussed. It's not something that has been enacted. And the worst thing you would have is everybody say, "That's a great idea," and then when something gets built, they say, "We didn't agree to that," and it's because the comments didn't come out, you know, at the beginning of the process when they needed to come out. So what I can do is I can email the board all that information that came through from the form-based code. There is an MF3 zone that is sort of this contextual infill zone. It only goes about 35 feet high, 3 stories high, and there's some proposed modifications to the T zone. Again, all of these are sort of at the beginning of the discussion phase, and so there's a long way to go before anything moves forward. So now is the time to really get those comments. And part of the you know, steps right now ahead of us for the comprehensive plan is really kind of engaging in a more robust way to get feedback from the community to make sure that it's in line with what the community wants to see.
I'm concerned the community like us is going to be not fully understand this. I mean, I wish there was a way to discuss it or give different names to the like MP3 player, MP3 zone, which is what, townhouse style? Is that what I remember?
You've hit the nail on the head of the challenge with this process. Is that
yeah, it's complicated.
It doesn't make sense to anybody. So I think that one of the suggestions that we had from Trustee Quesada was to develop some handouts that could actually, you know, show you in a visual format how the zoning works now and how the zoning would look if it was to change.
That would be excellent.
And so that is something that is on, you know, there's something's on the schedule. So yeah, we'll be working on that.
Because otherwise, I just worry, you know, that if it's not more accessible, we're just not going to get a lot of participation.
Yeah, agreed.
Are subcommittees still meeting? Sort of focus at the beginning of this process. I know there were subcommittees meeting about the comprehensive plan. I think Catherine was attending for a period of time.
Yeah, we had one, and then I watched the Zoom a couple of weeks ago. They had a I don't know what it was. It was like the public was invited. Some people spoke, but I didn't like read through it. I'd love to read what you were just talking about though, but we never met again after that initial.
Yeah, the intent is to reconvene those subcommittees.
Yeah,
Cool.
that was one of the concerns that we had, some of the feedback that we may have got from the subcommittee meetings, we kind of weren't followed through properly, I guess, or just followed through in a way that we felt that, or we're feeling that is appropriate for us to keep engaging the community at large. So that's one of the things that, Jaime and everybody else in the staff are going to be working on it, kind of reconvene some of the stuff. And especially, when we want to when the village board's taking recommendations or making changes to the zoning. So we want to make sure that, not just the boards or the subcommittees, but, as many people we can engage, the better is for us, because, I feel that even if we take an extra 2 months longer just to finish the process, I think to me, it would be worth it. Because I can go back and say, look, we extended the meeting, we extended the time frame, we got more feedback from the public. We're trying to get more engaged to all these other different areas that I think, it's just crazy because of the pandemic, it just kind of makes it's been crazy. It's just been crazy with everything, I guess, people still struggling with work and trying to make these ends and stuff like that. And all the other stuff that we're going through right now. So we understand that. And I think that's one of the reasons why we want to extend this process. Would you mind, Jaime, sending them the link as well for the comp plan website and just kind of loop them into the different documents that we have? So they're, all that stuff is on our website, but, if you guys have a minute, just take a look at it. There's a lot of reading material in there, but just, when you guys are bored, maybe just browse through it, when you have a free hour here and there, just kind of, just read. It's just some items I think will be, I'm not asking just as a HPC, I'm actually asking as a community members as well, so.
Yeah, if I can real quick, I'm gonna send everyone more detailed email probably on Wednesday. But the comp plan website is awningstomorrow.com. I'm going to share my screen real fast. I'm going to have to send you a more detailed memo because some of the stuff is just, it's so obtuse right now. It's not going to make any sense to you if I send you zoning tables. But there is a form-based code tutorial video, which is basically the video they gave to the comprehensive plan committee. That was very good. I think that's a good way of explaining how it works. So there's the presentation which you can go through by yourself, or you could just watch the tutorial. And it really was very good. But it talks about, how form-based code works, kind of the pedestrian environment, build to zone. It is still very complicated. I'm not gonna downplay that. Form-based code is it's complicated. It deals with regulating plans and build to lines and view sheds and, public frontage, it's dense. So I would encourage you to, rather than just reading through this, to watch the video to get a sense of what it means. But the idea, I think you can kind of see here, is like to sort of take the design styles that you have on one side of the street and bring them over to the other side of the street, right? In this instance, it's just the same picture flipped backwards, essentially, but the idea is trying to create kind of a nice pedestrian-friendly environment with frontages that are kind of consistent across both sides. But the way that it does is a complicated sort of process.
I have a question. I was driving recently and I saw a sign that said "Save Chappaqua, Stop Form-Based Code."
Yeah.
What was that? Do you know what they might have a problem with?
No, I do not. I did see those signs myself the other day when I went to Chico's, and
yeah, that's where I saw it. Yeah,
I saw the signs up. I actually was in a meeting the other day with the head of the planning department. It was a bunch of people. There was like a land use law center meeting, and that person was there, and she talked about how they've worked with some rezonings. They put in a form-based code. Their comprehensive plan kind of called for the form-based code. They moved forward with putting up the form-based code, and yet still there are some people who came out against the form-based code. So I'm not sure what their rationale is. There was no website connected to that. So it just says stop the form-based code. So I don't know where to go to get more intuitive feedback about why they're opposed to it at this point. But usually form-based code doesn't elicit a lot of.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's like, what's there to get upset about? I don't understand.
It's not, I mean, you know, it usually doesn't elicit like really any opposition. It's kind of it's a throwback in a certain ways.
You know, yeah, and maybe some people feel that these kinds of restrictions may be handcuffing them if they want to do development or change, and that may be what's spurring that on. Who knows?
You know, I've never witnessed like a coordinated, you know, we can't develop enough. I've only seen coordinated, we don't want any development. So usually when a whole collective group of people come together, it's to fight against new development. Usually the only people who are interested in sort of fighting against their, you know, ability to redevelop in the future are property owners, and they tend not to be able to kind of organize mass groups of people. So I don't think that's what they're upset about at this time. I think there might be some perception out there that it's going to lead to some large scale development. That's just my guess.
So the other piece of item, and I don't think we have anything just yet informal, but we did hire a consultant through a grant program that we obtained. Is Nelson Nygaard. They're doing a parking study for us, and they're concentrating. You know, one of the main points they're concentrating is obviously our downtown as well. So they're going to be coordinating that information with Complan consultant. So there's going to be some suggestions and hopefully some changes on the parking part area on that one as well. And that goes all the way up to the corridor, I believe, Jaime, sure, all the way up Crown Avenue as well, or up that area, not all the way up, but as far as we can get on the historic portion of that. So that is also common. And as soon as we get the information, because we haven't got anything yet, I'll make sure to share that with you guys as well. The other thing that we are hiring, that we send out an RFP for consultant, no, we hired that already. Did we for Route 9, Jaime?
For the Route 9 road diet? No, not yet.
No, so we send it out yet. We haven't received anything back, correct?
Natty is in charge of that, so I'm not sure whether we received anything.
So we're looking into hiring a consultant to actually help us put a plan together at some point of time. Hopefully soon, that the DOT will actually admit and say Austin does have a problem. We're going to try to solve it. So we try to do some of the legwork for them, and hopefully push them at the same time along with some of the suggestions that may come up from that one. And I know that's not part of the district, but that's where the district starts. That's sort of the intersection that kind of divides the district, I guess, in a way, from Crown Avenue to Main Street. So that corridor right there on Highland Avenue is the one it's going to be, a lot of people feel that we need to make a change, and I feel that something needs to happen in there. So that probably most likely is going to be happening the first quarter of next year, I think. Hopefully getting the consultant this year and try to move that along for next year. So again, I don't know if I'm going to be the liaison for the HPC or Dana may be the liaison for the HPC for next year, but whoever it is, we'll make sure that we'll keep you updated and
oh, Manny, you can keep it if you want. It's all right.
We'll flip a coin.
We'll arm wrestle for it.
There you go. No, but I think those pieces, I think they're essential for the district as well. Again, they kind of complement each other, and I think that's something that you guys should be aware of it and hopefully participate in that as well. So that's all I have for tonight.
What's the time frame for the comp plan?
We just sort of extended it, so time frame, I don't know.
I mean, the earliest it could be done is probably in the summer of 2020.
Yeah. We're looking hopefully by the end of summer, I think.
Yeah.
Depending on what that means, because right now, again, we are, we adding this to, not sort of, we knew it was coming, so we kind of coordinating these other two pieces with this, and hopefully we'll be able to make that as a whole package together.
I have one other question about developments afoot in the village that I just have not been able to follow. But Manuel or Jaime, if you could give us an update about the village-owned property near the waterfront. It's near the Hudson Wire factory building.
Old DPW site?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where things stand in terms of that project, and if there's an opportunity at this point for the HPC to weigh in on design.
So, and Jaime, you can, I think Stuart left already.
He did, yeah.
So all right, so it's you and me, Jaime. So pretty much what that one is, right now the village board gave the authority to the village manager to sign an agreement for a preferred developer. So we selected a person, obviously, as you guys know. So right now he started doing the community outreach about 2 weeks ago. We had our first meeting on our site. It was about a 2-hour meeting, I want to say, but
yeah, about.
Pretty much, there was people there, community members came and kind of asked some questions. The purpose of this particular, the purpose of having these community meetings was pretty much to get feedback, either pros and cons, sure, either against the project or in favor of the project, and see what that shapes out of it. So right now what he's asking is about 109 units. We do have some retail space, and we do have community access to the site.
As well as community space.
Community space. Well, community access as well.
Community access and community space.
Yeah, community access, because there's a couple elements in there that are actually public access that we are making sure that that's the case. So besides that, you know, the other thing that we had asked is pretty much there is a proposed parking lot area. I want to say 2 stories, Jaime? Is it?
It's a 4-story parking lot. It's a 4-story parking lot. 1 story belongs to the village, and the other 3 stories would belong to the property.
Correct, to the developer itself. So right now, that's where it stands. Their time frame for them to still have the preferred developer status ends at the end of the year. My feeling, I believe, is that they're probably going to ask for an extension, just because of what the circumstances had been. You know, just you know, COVID related. I'm you know, part of that. So I think that may be happening at the end of the year. But the other thing that we've been talking internally is, you know, how much more can we do to get feedback from the public? You know, obviously there's a couple of the meetings, the stakeholder meetings that we have to have, including the schools. So there's a lot of stuff in there. So I think if you guys want to have an input as members of the HPC or as just members of the community, you're definitely more welcome to do so. You know, I wouldn't want to stop that process to happen. But again, just keep in mind that that particular building does not fall under the HPC regulations and is not even near, well, sort of it is near the, depending on how the connection works for the downtown, sure, is a little bit part, but is not really part of the downtown. So, but yes, I would, you know, I will ask you two guys definitely to get some input on that. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance even like just to drive down there. There's 2 big signs, 4 feet by 8 feet down there that actually shows the rendering. Well, one is in Spanish, one is in English, and it kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what the project is. And I believe there's QR code in there where you can scan it and takes you to the website of the developer, and it gives you a little bit more of a breakdown in what the whole program is. So, but yes, you can definitely do that.
I'd encourage everyone to do that, to check out the rendering and learn some more about this project. Trustee Quezada is 100% right. This is not in a landmark district, but as we've discussed before, there are a number of historically valuable buildings in that area, and the waterfront still, notwithstanding some recent large-scale development, retains much of its historic character. And so even though it's not strictly a regulated, zone for HPC purposes, I think it's important that we weigh in, because there are certainly other buildings in that area that it'd be terrific if they were landmarked one of these days. We'll see. Does anyone have anything else to share? Okay, with that, then I would like to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. Anyone like to second the motion?
Before we adjourn, I would like to thank Dana for her service on the commission, because I am planning on voting for you tomorrow.
Thank you.
And if I'm not mistaken, once you are elevated to high office, that retires you from the commission, does it not?
Yes, it does. But I have one more meeting, but it will always hold a place in my heart. And Manny and I will be arm wrestling over who's the liaison. But yes, that's probably the worst part of becoming trustee, is that I have to leave the HPC. But I will keep an eye on it.
Oh, without a doubt. Absolute worst part. So I will second the motion and on that note, Adam.
Okay, all in favor?
In favor.
Aye.
All right. Well, folks, these are crazy times, and it's going to get a little crazier tomorrow, I'm sure, in the days after. I wish everyone well, and stay safe and stay calm, and good luck, Dana. I know this is a nail biter for you tomorrow.
I don't know what's going to happen.
But anyway, take care,
Manny's
everyone.
running as well. Let's not forget. Manny.
Who else?
Manny.
Yes,
Manny's
also a nail biter for Trustee Quezada. We'll see how it turns out. I wish you both luck. I wish everyone well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Good
Good
night.
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 Bye.